you likely know, is illegal under federal law. But 29 states have legalized medical marijuana. Among the millions who have prescriptions for it, an 11-year-old sixth grader in Illinois. Her doctor says she needs it to manage her seizures, but state law forbids it. Her parents, well, they decided to fight. Watch.
When Ashley was born, we were so excited. She came a couple months early. She was healthy, happy, and beautiful.
But in 2008, when Ashley Surin was 2 years old, her parents noticed some delays in her development. Then the toddler had severe pain in one arm.
We took her to the ER, and it was in the middle of the winter.
An X-ray revealed a fracture. The following week, they brought her in for blood work.
And they called us and said our daughter had... I'm sorry, 1 second. Our daughter had abnormalities and blasts in her blood, and we should go to an ER immediately with her.
Doctors told the Surins devastating news.
And they told us she had leukemia, and we had to start chemotherapy treatments immediately.
For more than 2 years, Ashley endured grueling doses of chemotherapy. Jim and Maureen say the side effects of the drugs triggered daily seizures. But finally, in 2011, Ashley's leukemia went into remission. But the daily seizures continued for 6 years, taking a toll on her body.
She spent most of last summer in a wheelchair or having to have our arms underneath her to help her walk around. We always were hearing about medical marijuana and the benefits of it and how it eliminates the seizures.
So my husband and I, big lumps in our throats, thought, oh wow, this is a big step.
Last August, the family was referred to homeopathic physician Tony Bark, who prescribed medical marijuana for 11-year-old Ashley.
She has 2 qualifying conditions: to be a legal medical cannabis user, seizure disorder, and cancer.
In September of 2017, the Surins applied for a license from the state of Illinois to use medical marijuana to help Ashley. 3 months later, they received the permit.
This is one of Ashley's medications that is a oil that goes on. We do it once a day, and it just goes like squirt, squirt, rub them together, done.
She has become much more alert, much more aware of her surroundings, physically being able to walk around much better without the aid of a wheelchair.
Ashley's parents say the sixth grader needed her meds at school, a patch the size of a Band-Aid on her foot, and cannabis oils administered to her wrist.
I wrote a letter for Ashley to be able to use cannabis. We were told by the school that absolutely not. And I said, well, okay, then we will take this to court.
My daughter was being denied school. I didn't hang up on him, I didn't yell at him, but I did tell him that I'm sorry too. It just doesn't seem fair or right. But I'm gonna research the legal side to this to see what my daughter's rights are.
And that's exactly what they did. Joining me now, Jim Surin, Ashley's father, and Stephen Glick, who's the attorney for the Surin family. Thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So you refused, as you had from the moment Ashley was diagnosed, you did not give up. You decided to fight.
Yes.
This child's been through hell. I mean, she had years of chemo, which you had to administer through a tube in her chest, and came out of it, right? She went into remission.
Yes.
But the seizures were a different matter.
Correct.
And when the school told you you were not going to be able to manage them at first with medical cannabis, what did you feel? What was your reaction?
I felt helpless because after all the stuff that she's gone through, what we wanted to do is sustain that level of health and happiness. The medical marijuana was a great benefit to her, and it has been a great benefit to her. She's had maybe 1 major seizure in almost 2 months. She's had maybe 2 or 3 little ones in the middle of the night that were regulated. But it's
How does that compare to what it was before?
It was horrible. She would have 1 to 3 major, total head drops, or her whole body would collapse. Someone would have to shadow her at school. We'd have to shadow her at home all day. It was 24/7. The seizures did not take a break at all.
and she was on 3 anti-seizure medications. They wanted her to go on a 4th.
Yes.
And you and your wife did not want that and found this to be a useful, effective alternative to that and have been reducing the seizure medication, right?
Absolutely. With the help of Dr. Bark, we got Ashley on a great diet, and the medical marijuana, the patch on her foot and the oils on her wrists, has been night and day. There's no need for those other meds anymore.
Now, it's not like the child gets high from this, right?
Correct.
Like, it's not, I mean, because I think a lot of people out there who think about medical marijuana in the school, they're like, oh, I don't want her to smoke a joint next to my kid who's going to grab the leftovers.
Right, exactly. I think, and that's kind of the way the law is kind of written also. Everyone thinks it's somebody rolling up a joint or doing a 3-foot graphic or doing a one-hitter, like in the 70s and 80s.
What have you heard? Wondering.
Allegedly. Allegedly. That's another story. Well,
It's all confidential, don't worry.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing is that it's not like Ashley's going to be doing any of that in math class, or it's literally, it's a patch on her foot. It's not the THCs that are regulating her seizures. It's the CBDs. That is the thing.
Nobody knows what that is.
Yeah, CBD is basically, it's an oil that goes into her skin that controls and regulates her seizures.
Yeah.
The oil that goes on her wrists control her upper body.
Now, Stephen, the school initially said we can't because state law prohibits it, federal law prohibits it. They can't have pot, and they can't have pot on campus. But there's another law that says every student has a right to an education. So you tell me, when I read the legal papers, it looked like as soon as you actually filed them, they caved, and they caved quickly.
Well, you know, I think this is one of those situations where the law has not really caught up to reality. There's such a proliferation of legal and medical research on marijuana. And I think really it's all about sort of what, like Jim said, people have a perception of marijuana in school. But really where the conflict is, first, under state law, children are required to go to school in Illinois. We have mandatory compulsory attendance. But the more important is under federal law, the IDEA, Individual Disability Education Act, for kids with special needs, there has to be an individualized education plan. In this case, it can only be administered in school. So the legal conflict is state law says you can't come to school with marijuana. She needs marijuana, but if you don't go to state law, you're violating federal law by not providing the individualized education plan.
So I want to tell our audience that we reached out to the school superintendent. Again, right now, things have gone the Surins' way after they got a court order in their favor. But the school says this: Schaumburg School District 54 is committed to the students it serves. We appreciated having the opportunity to work with the Surins and the Illinois Attorney General's office to allow Ashley to attend school where she belongs, with her classmates and her teachers. And the question is how we get this school's hands untied legally, and not just this school, but other schools where there are other Ashleys, or where Ashley might have to go if the family decides not to stay in this particular jurisdiction. And that fight remains alive and well and on the table. Thank you guys for calling attention to it. All the best to you.
Thank you.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.